How the hell you doing, brother? Welcome back. Listen, I don't know why it took me so long, but here's the most insane library you've ever seen. I got this from my first girlfriend. I gave it to her as a birthday gift. She didn't read. She repackaged it and gave it right back. And I've had it ever since. I love it. It's beloved. I will cherish this thing forever. So, but it's so old that I can't even put new books on it. So here's what I have on here from just traversing the depths of the internet and hearing about these sort of niche books and these different ways of thinking. I mean, I really think I'm set here. Like if I was stranded on an island, this is something that I would definitely want to bring with me. I got a lot of fiction on here, but I also got a lot of, just hard-hitting titans. All right, so let's get into it. First one is The Complete Works of Swami Vivekananda, not to be confused with Vivek Ramaswamy. I think that's his name. I think that is his name. And by the way, let me know like 5 books down below. What are you guys reading? What do you guys got in your library? Anything juicy? Anything I need to know about? So this guy was a monk, an Indian monk, philosopher. But when you think about like Indian monks and Indian philosophers, you probably think like hippie, yoga. This guy is not like that. While he does partake in yoga, this guy is like masculine, very masculine, but not over the top masculine. He is masculine in a way through his writing that cuts clear, that gives you focus and strength. And when you read him, sometimes this is a complete works of Swami Vivekananda, but he is just cuts to the heart of things, gets your mind clear, and just realigns you if you're off center. I'm telling you, it's a great book. I'm only like 10% through because it's so vast, but it's all of his speeches, all of his writings, everything. The next one is Slavoj Žižek. And this is the guy, the reason I said this is the guy that's like has that speech thing. He was talking to Jordan Peterson, and he Jordan Peterson, he like spits all over the place. If you were close to him, he'd spit all over your face while he's talking to you. And he is a communist, self-proclaimed communist. So I heard about, this is one of the last books I got in here. I'm only like 5% of the way through. I wanted to check it out because he is like, you hear all the terrible consequences of communism. I want to get inside this mind as like, communism is the way. So this is first is Tragedy, then is Farce by Slavoj Žižek. The next one, which, I do really recommend, is this author, Julius Evola, however you say his last name. Julius Evola. One of his famous books is called Revolt Against the Modern World. This is The Bow and the Club. This book is called The Bow and Club by Julius Evola. And this book is a collection of some of his best writings, some of his best thoughts. I've read this all the way through. I'm on my second read. I often visit this. His main message, from what I've gathered, is every man has within himself a guiding force. If you partake in the modern world, that guiding force is going to get worn down upon. If you partake in too much media, in the degeneracy, if you don't have certain guidelines, if you don't have strength, if you don't think for yourself, you are going to be whipped into shape, and that guiding force inside of you that holds everything together is going to crumble and allow a lot of negative influence inside. Very good. I like Julius Evola a lot. The Baron speaks. He reminds me of Nietzsche in how he says so much in a paragraph, where other people would use a whole chapter. He says so much in a paragraph, and you hear these words, and you're like, what does he mean by that? And then it hits you like, wow, that's brilliant. Good job. The next thing is a book that was banned in a lot of countries, and is Might is Right by the moniker Ragnar Redbeard. This can be very racist at times. This can be very, it doesn't, stuff you don't want to hear. The main message is might is right, and he regurgitates that over and over. He hates on Christianity. He hates on a lot of stuff. There's a good message buried under a guy that had a lot of hate and resent. Is he wrong? No. Is he right on everything? No. But you can read, if you know, that's the thing. If you can read these guys without getting emotional, and you can see their point of view, I think there's a lot you can take away from. So Might is Right, old book. Essentially, Might is Right. You know, the strongest survive, and the weak get eaten and pillaged. The next one by Nietzsche, Thus Spoke Zarathustra. While I'm only about, I would say, halfway through this book, I thought this book was going to hit me like dynamite. The language is a bit too flowery, and I'm not criticizing it, but for me, it almost, man, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just need to keep going. But this didn't speak to me how I thought it would. Like reading all the comments, everyone loves this book. It's his best. I don't know. Maybe I need to keep reading it. Thus Spoke Zarathustra by Friedrich Nietzsche. How I Found Freedom in an Unfree World by Harry Brown. I wish I read this when I was like 21. Although I got this message through other books, I think this book had a great collection, a very condensed version of all these basic mindsets and frameworks that a young man would need to be equipped with to kind of handle the modern world. All the trappings of living up to other people's standards, of getting emotional about things that don't matter, about living life in a way where you put so much baggage on yourself and you upgrade your life too quickly, where you have to constantly keep up with it, and then you're trapped and you're not free. And each chapter is like a way that you put yourself in a box and you remain unfree. So it's how to be free in an unfree world. Very good book. I return to this frequently, and I just read a chapter before bed or something, just to kind of, what are the traps out there? How am I playing into stuff that I don't really want? Like, it's a great book. Harry Brown, How I Found Freedom in an Unfree World. The next one, Minority Report. This is not the fictional Minority Report with Tom Cruise. This is by H.L. Mencken. I think this is like 100 years old. And he would write for the newspapers. He was a reporter. He had a lot of base takes. And it's funny. It's a collection of all his writings. Minority Report. Let's go forward. Next page. Alexander the Great. This is the quintessential, I would say, Alexander the Great. You know, I'm just saying that. I haven't read a lot of other books about Alexander the Great. From what I've heard and from what I've read of this, I don't think I need another source on Alexander the Great. It talks about him from a young boy growing up, how he was raised, a lot of these different stories told about him throughout history, his conquests going into the New World, being a leader. I mean, this is Alexander the Great, Philip Freeman. From what I've heard, this is one of the best. Next one, Chess Tactics for Intermediates by Karthik PM. This is like a very short book. If you play chess, probably if you're 1300, 1500, I'm capped at like 1500, dude. I don't know why. I think there comes a point you actually need to study. But if you've played chess up until a certain point, you probably know a lot of this stuff. What is a pawn promotion? What is a skewer? What is a pin? What is a fork? Stuff like that. He just puts names to a lot of these different scenarios you probably have come to be familiar with. So, decent book if you're very new to chess. These two books are by Vorkannon. Vorkannon. This guy, he's actually commented on the channel before. It would be interesting to see if he sees this. A cool guy. He was in the same vein as kind of Bap, Bronze Age Pervert, which is another great book if you haven't read, Bronze Age Mindset by Bap. He actually shouted me out on Twitter years ago when I had made a book review of Bronze Age Mindset. That was pretty funny to see. And I had just seen that like a few months ago. I didn't even know he did that. But anyway, this Cerebrus slept and barking at the herd. He used a lot of myth, a lot of tales of old. And this is Barking at the Herd was very good. I didn't finish Cerebrus slept, but I believe Barking at the Herd was the first book. The next one is Tris Moon. This is Tris Moon series. Tris Moon, Trys Moon. This is a slept-on fantasy series. I highly recommend. If you like fiction, if you like along the same lines of The Name of the Wind, which I don't have on here, but you know, a lot of people have I've talked about it. If you like The Wheel of Time, if you like The Lies of Locke Lamore, right up your alley. It's a very simple tale with lovable characters. A fight versus good and evil, strength versus weakness, light versus dark. I loved it, man. Your main character, Jen, he's like a peasant, gets just ripped out of his village. Everyone he loves is slaughtered, and he sets out and he ends up working as a guardsman, as a personal guard for the princess and the queen of like the kingdom. Very cool story, very good. Very simple, but very good. A lot of lovable characters and good back and forth. The next one is The Chronicles of Master Li by Barry Huggart. This was a very funny book. Listen, the premise is like you got a monk that sets out with this old timer, this like old guy that they're going all across China to try to find a magic ginger root that will somehow heal the land. The dialogue here is witty and funny as hell. This is like one of the books I actually laughed out loud. Haha, like one of those you ever read. It's hard to read and like actually laugh out loud. Sometimes you get hit with something you actually laugh. Wow, funny to think about. This is one of those books, dude. It's a good book. The next one, 16 Ways to Defend a Walled City by K.J. Parker. I read this long ago. Very enjoyable. A little bit mundane, slow, but it was good. It's like a fictional tale of them in the city and they're getting attacked for like days on end, and they're just trying to defend the kingdom. Next one is Sanction by Roman McClay. Dude, this guy went off the fucking rails. I bought this book before he did any of this. He was in sort of, what was he in? He was in like the manosphere kind of area. And this book is like a fictional tale. I didn't read it all. I'm only like 15% through. It's very long, very dense too. This guy went in Colorado, I think 2 years ago, and shot his ex-wife or girlfriend. He came out of the woods. He was living alone for ages. He came out, and this guy was just so obsessed with women. He had to get vengeance on his ex-girlfriend, shot the security guard. There's a tape on YouTube. His name is Roman McClay. This guy went off the freaking rails. And that book is called Sanction. I'm probably never going to read that. It's just like fiction, but there's no like good, it's just his kind of ranting. Let's see, where are we at? The True Believer by Eric Hoffer. Very good book on what makes strong groups? Why do people rally behind a cause? Why do people, have these ideological views, and then what makes them tick? Why do the true believer, what makes someone truly believe in a group? It's a very insightful, very good book. I really enjoy this. A lot to pick apart here. The King's Curriculum by Johnny Manis, which I forgot how I heard about it. He gives a very esoteric sort of spin on the whole self-improvement. I liked how it was written. A lot of stuff I had already heard, but I like how he like introduced the importance of tradition in your life, or having a sort of ritual. And these are things that I never really considered. I think he's a Freemason. I think he sort of took from some Masonic ideas. But yeah, it was enjoyable. Johnny Manis, The King's Curriculum. Very good. All right, we're going to keep plowing through here. This is H.P. Lovecraft, The Complete Fiction. I haven't read all of it. Man, you guys have heard of, this is the master of cosmic horror. Cthulhu, right? The master of cosmic horror, which another reason I think Bloodborne is so great, because it took from, it was Lovecraft inspired. Cosmic horror is probably my favorite. I don't even like regular horror. I don't care. I like horror that makes you like contemplate. Damn, dude. Damn. What is out there? H.P. Lovecraft kind of introduced that to he made this genre of cosmic horror. You should hear what he has to say about dogs and cats. Very funny. You should hear what he named his own cat. I'm not going to say it on camera, but you should look up what H.P. Lovecraft called his own cat. Very funny. And he thought that dogs were for slaves. He thought dogs were for plebeians. Do I agree with him? No. But I do own cats, and I'm telling you, I don't know why people hate cats so much. He loved cats. I think why people hate cats is because they don't just come to you like, hey, boy, come here. They come to you when they want. A dog, though, he said, is for the plebeian that needs something to always love him and cherish him. But I love dogs, too. I just thought it was funny what he had to say about that. The next fantasy book, Swords of Deviltry by Fritz Lieber. Very old, classical fantasy. I haven't finished it. Thick Face Black Heart by Chin Ning Chu. Chin Ning Chu. Thick Face Black Heart. I've made several videos like 3 years ago on some of the contents of this book. Sort of along the self-improvement, but also not your base self-improvement. More like dealing with people. Have a thick face, black heart. Kind of like 48 Laws of Power. This is written by a female too. But I enjoyed it. Necessary? I don't think so. If it's like, if you see it at the thrift store and you like, hey, I heard Eli talk about that, then pick it up. But is it necessary? No, you probably have heard a lot of it. Honestly, recommend 48 Laws of Power, probably more. Let's see, let's keep it going. Simple Success Secrets No One Talks About by John Carlin. This is a famous copywriter that I think there's about 12 chapters here. And they're basic, but they're, to the point. Pretty good. A lot of these I forget. A lot of it blends together, dude. But it wasn't bad. The next one is How to Become an Ubermensch by Jacques Raoul something. Short book. I think it's like 70 pages. Essentially says if you want to become an Ubermensch, which Nietzsche made famous, then just don't die. Very simple. Just don't die and you'll be an Ubermensch. If you are surviving, if you are here, you are able to thrive. You are an Ubermensch, because like that's really what I got from this book. I kind of like thought I would get more. Maybe I'm a little stupid for not getting more. But the main message was seriously like if you're here, I mean, you're an Ubermensch surviving, because those people that are dead, they can't be an Ubermensch. The next one is The Storm of Steel by Ernest Younger. This is one of those books you probably see on all the sort of red pill list. This is, I believe from, and listen, I haven't even read this all the way. I think this is from the side of the Germans in World War I. I don't know, I might be wrong. But I had a tough time getting into it. I got to revisit this, maybe read it in the future. The Reign of Quantity and the Sign of the Times by Rene Guenon. This guy inspired Julius Evola. This is like his guy that he read, which inspired his philosophy. This is the source. A bit more dated than Evola's thoughts. A little bit different language, but very good. The Most Dangerous Game. We probably all read this in high school. This is very short. I think this is like 20 pages long, maybe less. Richard Connell. This is about where the rich guy gets people to his island, and then he sets them off, and then he goes hunting for them. And he's got a gun, and they don't. And he comes hunting for them on the island. Very, powerful story. Like, very, you feel it. You feel like you're on that island, like this old dude's hunting you for pleasure. Very perverse. All right. One of my favorite fantasy books of all time, The Lives of Locke Lamora. I probably read this book every couple of years. I don't know, I just like it. I like the group. It's like Fight Club and Ocean's 11 in the fantasy world. I really like it. I've recommended it too much, so I'm not going to talk about it anymore here. The Alabaster Girl by Zan Perion. I remember, dude, Zan Perion, I forgot I even had this book. Zan Perion, Elliot Hulse. I think Zan Perion Zan was like a cool dude, a little hippie, chill. He was very popular when RSD Tyler and all those RSD dudes, Luke and all those guys were speaking. He had a more authentic approach, a more honest approach. And he was a bit of a romantic. Some good stuff. This book itself, way too flowery for my liking. I actually I would say if you want to get a good vibe on this guy or a good understanding, just watch his talk. It's like an hour long. Zan Period. Some good stuff. You know, if you're a young buck, you're wondering why women are like this and that. But then also balance that out with some Patrice O'Neal. And then you'll know everything you need to know about, you know, women. Then you just need to go and get some skin in the game. I mean, Patrice O'Neal is the GOAT, right? Like, anyway, next is The Sword of Kagan. This was a Japanese tale. It was like super hype. I'm telling you, I don't trust all these Goodreads, man. It was a good book written by a girl. But some of these Goodreads got to be paid off. Because I'm telling you, in the fantasy that's coming out today, dude, I went to the library. It's all women writing fantasy. Where is like the grimdark, good fantasy, the, you know, strong male protagonists and wicked villains? Like, dude, it's all this like LGBTQ gay fantasies, you know, just, I don't care about some lesbian heroine. Give me the dude that's not sucking someone off behind the tavern. Give me the strong, like, guy that goes to war, which leads me to another good one if you want. And this book, by the way, I'm unfair. It just got me, you know, a little worked up. But The Sword of Kagan was actually a good tale set in sort of ancient Japan. What was it even about? Like samurai something? It was not bad. It was okay. But that leaves me, if you wanted a good kind of masculine fantasy book, Legend by David Gemmell. That was pretty cool. Like stoic warriors, you know, kind of just under a siege. I think we only got one more here, man. We're going to wrap this video up. I got the whole collection of Eliza Locklemore, by the way. Eliza Locklemore, Red Seas Under Red Sky, Book 2, and The Republic of Thieves, which there's supposed to be a fourth book, but Scott Lynch, got depressed and has been going through it for years. God bless him, dude. Listen, if you're out there, you got a great character here, man. You got a great series going. Find the strength, finish that shit. All right? You're going to make a shit ton of money because everyone loves this book. The last one is A Spy's Guide to Thinking. Very short book. I don't even know why I picked this up. Just some basic body language. You know, if you see someone when you're on the bus and they're like this, it probably means they're a crackhead and you should not get near them. Some basic stuff. Anyways, guys, listen, I hope you enjoyed this book list. Let me know 5 books, 10 books you're reading, what you like, what you don't like. Let me know if you got any recommendations for me. I will talk to you guys soon. Have a blessed day. Keep it high thumos. Peace.